Epic Universe hasn't even opened yet, but it looks like we might already have the first expansion on the way. Hello everybody, welcome. Speculation has been running rampant about Universal's future plans for Epic Universe. But now it seems like we might already have our first clue as to what's coming next. As you all know, we are getting closer and closer to the opening day for Epic Universe, which of course is May 22nd, 2025. And as predicted, every week that goes by, we are getting more and more information about Epic Universe now that the Super Bowl is over. We've now received additional information about new ticket packages that are available for Florida residents and even a new single-day ticket for military members. We also know that previews have already started for special team members and VIPs over at Epic Universe, and we know more previews are on the way. In fact, it looks like a save the date has already come out for media previews for a lot of people. Now it appears we may have some insight into a future expansion plan for Epic. First, we have been talking for a while about Universal shifting its focus back to their original parks, Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, once Epic Universe opens. We know that they have concerns about everybody flooding to Epic Universe and people not going to Universal Studios anymore, specifically Universal Studios. Islands of Adventure is probably going to still do okay, but that is one of the big reasons why they're doing these 3-day ticket packages instead of single-day tickets. Now, we will be getting single-day tickets. Be sure to stay around. Check this channel out. We'll be talking about it. They're going to come out with the single-day tickets. But for now, they keep pushing these 3-day tickets because they are very concerned about people not going to their older parks because they haven't done a ton to those parks since Epic Universe was first announced. Which makes sense. They've been pouring all their money and their time and energy in Epic Universe, so they haven't had time and money to put into the original parks. So we've been talking about how they're going to start shifting their focus and bringing new experiences to those parks. If you want to know more about those expansion plans at Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, check out my video below. I go into great detail and talk about all the possible expansions that they're planning over there and the new attractions that are coming there, information that we have and information we're speculating based on things that we know. And just a teaser, there's so much cool information in that video about things like Pokemon, Zelda, and even Lord of the Rings. So check it out. It should be in the description below if you want to see it. But before we get into the big new expansion that we're hearing about, I want to hit a couple of things that we're pretty sure are going to be coming in Phase 2 for Epic Universe right now. First thing is Luigi's Mansion expansion in Super Nintendo World. This is a very high probability that we're going to get this Luigi's Mansion attraction. There is tons of space in Super Nintendo World to continue to expand that area. There's an expansion pad over there between Super Nintendo World and Dark Universe where they are planning to add extra things. Talked about this before. It's probably going to be some sort of cool thing like a Haunted Mansion / Minions Villain Con crossover type experience. But this is just a single attraction. This isn't a new land expansion. We are also very likely getting a Creature from the Black Lagoon expansion. That would be an attraction as well, not a big land expansion for Dark Universe. We know that the Creature from the Black Lagoon, some sort of boat ride, was originally planned in Dark Universe and it got kind of put on hold, maybe canceled, maybe just delayed to a Phase 2 of Epic Universe. But again, that could be a really cool experience. We know there's lots of, the Creature from the Black Lagoon that is in the Monsters Unchained just looks awesome. They've got tons of Creature from the Black Lagoon merchandise coming out. And there is space for it right there behind Monsters Unchained in that sort of pad. It's very probable that it's going to be coming in a Phase 2 of Epic. But again, that's just an attraction expansion, not an entire new land. And one more attraction that we're very likely getting at Epic Universe is a Wizarding World second attraction. In the Wizarding World Ministry of Magic area, there was originally planned to be 2 attractions in there. Battle at the Ministry, and then an unnamed new attraction as well. They had plans for it. It was at one point maybe some sort of like VR broom experience. That got shuttered. That wasn't going to pan out. They did end up building the front facade. I've said this in other videos. They built the front facade there for it. They just haven't built the building behind it, but that is where it is planned to be. And I think that that attraction is very much needed to round out the Wizarding World, and I think we need another attraction, like a dark ride attraction over in Dark Universe, to round that one out. Now let's talk about the big one, a potential big expansion, entirely new land that could possibly be coming to Epic Universe. And this comes to us from a brand new New York Times article that was just posted, where they interviewed Mark Woodbury, who's the chairman and CEO of Universal Parks and Resorts. In that interview, they asked him all about the future plans for Universal. I'm going to do a video on some of the other things that he said, because there's some really cool stuff that I don't want people to miss about some new parks that are going to be coming that nobody even knows about yet, which really looks cool to me. But he did mention during this interview, they asked him about Wicked. And it appears that Mr. Woodbury and Universal have plans for Wicked. He specifically calls out and says, when I first saw it, Wicked, the movie, my first reaction was, this is a theme park waiting to happen. And during this interview, it sounds like he is planning, and they are already in a planning phase of bringing more Wicked attractions into Universal. Wicked has been a wildly successful movie. It has been, people are raving about it. It is obviously a long-standing Broadway show in production. As I said, Universal owns the rights to Wicked now, and they even created a Wicked experience at Universal Studios. If you did not see that Wicked experience, it is absolutely amazing. I was blown away. I thought it was just going to be a small little tribute store, or just some new merch, or maybe some new wallpaper. I was not expecting what they brought to the table with that. It is absolutely amazing. Costumes, props, recreating set pieces from the movie, interactive experiences, photo opportunities, merchandise, food, all sorts of stuff, completely transformed this space and really created this like micro experience for Wicked. And it is absolutely amazing. And I do know they are planning on keeping that Wicked experience there all the way through the next film's release. So it is going to be there for a while. If you haven't seen it, you got time to see it, go there. I'm telling you, if you're a Wicked fan, it's awesome. Now, what you might not know is there was already a Land of Oz theme park area in Universal Japan, which ran from 2006 to 2011, about 5-year run there. This was a really interesting space. It had the Emerald City there, it had Yellow Brick Road, and it had 3 primary attractions. The first attraction was basically a condensed version, a condensed show of Wicked, the Broadway musical. It was about a 35-minute long show that tried to bring the Broadway production, which is, I don't know, like 2.5 hours long, almost 3 hours. I've seen it on Broadway maybe a dozen times throughout my life. It is one of my favorite musicals of all time. I think it's fantastic. And what's interesting is a lot of people mistake the Wicked Broadway show with Disney. They think of it as a Disney production, which goes to show you like how powerful that Wicked brand is and can be, especially now that this new movie has come out and been so successful. And there's another movie, the second part of the show, that'll actually be put together here soon. We'll be getting that in the next year or so. So people are already kind of associated with Disney and that level of imagination and creativity, but actually Universal owns it. So I think that's a really cool thing that they could develop into an IP that is very iconic already, but it can be even bigger and really bring a whole new generation of people along. It's really exciting. The second attraction there was Toto and Friends. This was basically like an animal actors type show, animal trick show that they like, similar to like the animal actors show over at Universal Studios, Toto and Friends. And then they had basically a carousel, a merry-go-round. It was called Magical Oz Go Round, and it's exactly what it sounds like. A carousel that was themed to basically Wizard of Oz or Wicked. So you might ask, why did it close? Because it was, after all, very popular. Popular, you're gonna be popular. It was definitely performing very well. It brought a lot of people into Universal Japan. Tons of people were coming in because of that sort of Land of Oz experience. But as time went on, the sort of Oz became less relevant. And they kept adding more new attractions and more things, and they kept evolving their parks. And eventually they decided they needed to appeal to more children and families. And the Land of Oz, the Wicked experience, it just wasn't appealing to kids as much at the time, so they ended up redoing that and bringing a complete new kids land in that space. But it was a popular theme and land for quite a while. So I think that's the big question. They're thinking about using Wicked in a few different places, a few different ways. Could it stand the test of time as its own land? Is it something that kids and whole generations, kids all the way up to adults, is it something that they would really truly be interested in for a long period of time? You definitely would not want to create an entire land, an expansion, for something that's going to flame out in a couple of years. So I think that's the big question, to see whether or not it's really going to truly materialize as a land or as maybe an attraction or two. So if they do go the route of creating an expansive land, obviously the most logical place is Epic Universe. That they have expansion pads there. Obviously they have two strong female leads in that particular show, in that production. I think it almost feels like a competitor to Princesses. It kind of also could kind of be a competitor for Disney Villains. It kind of is a little bit dark, but it's also very bright and colorful. So there's a lot of potential for what you could do with that brand. I think it would be a big win. So if they did bring it into sort of a land Epic Universe, one of those expansion pads there between Super Nintendo World and Dark Universe, or potentially through Wizarding World and How to Train Your Dragon, there's an expansion pad there, very likely could show up at Epic Universe. Another logical contender would definitely be Universal UK. We've been hearing a lot about this UK park that they're going to be bringing. It was nodded to again in this New York Times article that they are thinking about bringing a park there, and they're in the process of seeing if they can make it happen. I think, as I've mentioned before, with maybe Wizarding World and Lord of the Rings, I think it could definitely end up in that UK park. So if they bring Wicked to the table, it could end up there. I will say, however, that Wicked is very popular in the United States. Is it as popular in other parts of the world like Europe and Japan and all these different locations? Maybe. They did bring Wicked, the production, into Japan, and it drove all sorts of crazy interest. So it is possible it could go to another country. And then another potential location where they could build a land is Toon Lagoon. We've talked a lot about the fact that that particular area, it is it's almost a water park. I mean, every attraction in that space is a water attraction. I don't know, I think a lot of people love it, and it's very popular with certain people, and then other people, it's sort of a walkthrough, and they don't really pay much attention to it. It depends. Some people it's two sides of a fence. That could be a potential area that they could shutter and transform into a Wicked experience. Now, that being said, I think right now, without knowing what legs Wicked has, and could it really be a land that could keep people energized for decades, I'm not sure. So it may be more likely that they end up just looking at Wicked as an attraction or a couple of attractions versus an immersive land. Similar to maybe like Kong Skull Island. Like it's a section over there kind of between Toon Lagoon and between Jurassic Park area. Thematically, it kind of fits over there, but not really. It could be something like that as well. So if they go the attraction route, where would it make the most sense to go? First and foremost, an easy one is Fast and Furious. I mean, the Fast and the Furious there in Universal Studios is busted. It's busted. Nobody wants it. Nobody likes it. Everyone's like, get rid of it. Please put something else in its place. There is a ton of space in that area. That building is monstrous. You could easily see that being transformed into some sort of Wicked attraction. It could change from some busted van thing driving through, or monorail, or whatever the train it used to be, and they could change it into something completely different. Literally shutter it, gut it, create maybe like an ET experience or an Omnimover experience, or they could even probably put a couple of attractions in there. There's so much space. Or maybe it's even just like an interior, a land in that space with the Emerald City and the Yellow Brick Road and all the cool different things that you could experience. You could do a lot there. Another logical location is the Fear Factor Live building. We've been talking about getting rid of this thing for a long time. They were talking about expanding Diagon Alley there. They still haven't done it. It's just kind of been used there for the nightmare fuel every Halloween Horror Nights. I don't know if that thing's ever going to transform into something different. They keep talking about it, but it's a lot of space over there as well that could easily hold a Wicked attraction. And then also, what about Jimmy Fallon? Does anybody still love that ride? Actually, did anybody ever love that attraction? I'm not saying it's bad. I go on it. I enjoy it. It's fine. As long as there's not a long wait, I don't really care. It's kind of okay and cool. It's kind of fun, but it's not on the top of my list. If I go to Universal Studios 10 times, I might do Jimmy Fallon once out of 10 times. It's just not, I don't think it's that great. So it could easily get chopped, put something else there. Wicked, I think it would be a good space for it. It's also a ton of area and space there that they could just totally renovate and do something different with. So that's a likely candidate. And then of course the last likely candidate that we don't talk too much about is Universal Studios over there in California. They could easily put something in that space. Now, I will say there's not a ton of room there in that park, not a ton of like expansion room, but you have all the sound stages and all the different things they could do there. For sure, I think that is a candidate as well. So it doesn't necessarily mean that because they are thinking about Wicked attractions and potentially a land, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to land in Orlando. Could be in the UK, could be over in LA, or it could end up in Epic Universe. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. What do you think? Are you a big Wicked fan? Do you think it has the legs to carry itself as a land, as an entire land or expansion versus just maybe an attraction or two? I'm not sure. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you think it has the pull? Maybe, or will it have the pull after the second film, the second part of the film releases? Again, I think it's an amazing Broadway musical. I think it's a great show. Is it something that could carry them? I'm not 100% sold on it. So maybe a cool attraction I'd love to see, an entire land. I don't know, maybe not. But again, they are thinking about it. It's been confirmed. They're looking at it. They're thinking about doing something more with it other than just the store or the little experience that they created. But they don't want to make the mistake of building something again like the Land of Oz that then eventually gets shuttered after a few years because the interest just wanes. That would be a really bad situation. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Love to hear from you. Love to get your ideas. Love to hear your opinions. Does this make sense? Do you think it's going to happen? Love to know what you think. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with all your friends. Be sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't hit it already. I have lots of great content coming out, and so many people watch my videos and they're not subscribed. So make sure you hit it and hit the notification button once you're subscribed so that you know when my next video drops. And thanks again for watching. Until I see you next time, the noble way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.